Welcome back. In this section, we will put everything we learned throughout the course until now and put everything in practice to implement our VPC networking infrastructure. VPC networking is an important concept on AWS. Without the VPC networking, you cannot deploy your EC2 instances, or you can't just launch ECS clusters. VPC networking is a critical solution that you need to understand and comprehend to implement everything on top of it. It basically provides you the isolated virtual private cloud environment where you can deploy your resources either as publicly or privately. To start with our implementation, we're going to create our VPC or virtual private cloud. So let's get started. As we discussed earlier, this project will be a reference project for us so that we can use this and reuse this project again and again if we need to on AWS to set up our VPC networking infrastructure. So to be able to achieve that and understand and implement the best practices, let's get started on implementing this as a module, a Terraform module. So to do that, I'll get started with a module folder. So I'll say VPC networking for my module and create my resources under that module. So let's get started. A new directory to start with, and VPC networking is the name of our module. All right, so what we need is basically a file first that is going to be our main TF, which will contain all of our resource definition. And next up is a variables.tf. And one more thing is to add an output TF so that we can maybe output some of the variables. And outputs.tf. All right. So let's get started on our VPC networking module with our VPC resource. So first things first, let's define our provider. So our AWS provider, then the region that I'm going to use will be US West 2. And we can even parameterize this variable. So let's do that and use a best practice again. So I'm going to go ahead and assume that I have a variable called region. So now I'm going to go to my variables.tf and create the region variable, and I'll default that variable to US West 2. If let's say I forgot to provide a region, then it'll be created in US West 2. So let's go back to our main.tf, and now what we want to do is create a VPC. So let's say resource AWS underscore VPC. So as soon as I hit enter, as you can see, we're asked for the CIDR block as a required argument. So let's give our VPC a name, module VPC. So for our CIDR block, what I want to do is I want to do the same thing with my CIDR block, and I want to provide it with my variables so that I want to be flexible enough with my module that I can use anything I want. So let's say var.vpc CIDR and assume that we have a variable like that, CIDR block, all right? And now let's go to our variables.tf and create the variable for our CIDR block. So I don't even have to provide a default value for my CIDR block, so let's just leave it as is and go back to our VPC. So now, what other thing I want to do is I want to enable DNS hostnames. So DNS hostnames provides EC2 the capability to have a DNS name when it is launched, but the important thing here is these EC2 instances have to be publicly available. So this only applies to the publicly available EC2 instances. So I'm going to enable that DNS hostname capability. And one final thing I want to do is to have a tag to my VPC, since VPC doesn't have a name attribute out of the box. So let's say name, and that is going to be equal to production-VPC. All right. So that concludes our VPC creation.